Hey everyone, before we dive in, if you're enjoying these real life stories of survival and justice, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It really helps the channel grow. I was paralyzed in my old bedroom from when I was a kid. My body wouldn't budge an inch. My brain was yelling inside, but I could hardly breathe. I couldn't shift, couldn't yell for help. All I could do was hear what was going on. Footsteps moved down the hall, slow and on purpose. The door never fully closed. It was left a little cracked. Out of the dark hallway, my sister spoke in a calm, even voice, just make it seem natural. A guy I'd never laid eyes on walked into the room. He bent over me and felt for my pulse. That's the moment it hit me that something way worse than dying was going down. Because this stranger wasn't there to help me. My name is Emily. I'm 38 now. For most of my years, I'd mastered the art of fading into the background without ever leaving the space. These days, I live in North Carolina, a good distance from the home where I was raised. I'm a lead data specialist, a steady job that values careful attention and accuracy. I love working with data because numbers don't judge you. They treat everyone the same. When things don't line up, the facts come out eventually. My family never operated like that. From the outside, we seem like any ordinary family. A tidy home in a peaceful suburb in Ohio. Pictures of us smiling on the walls. Holiday meals filled with the smell of baked chicken and slightly overdone biscuits. If you dropped by just for Thanksgiving, you'd swear we were perfectly normal. But behind those walls, everyone had assigned parts, and mine was always the one nobody needed. My dad, Robert, preferred being in charge over actual talking. He made statements, never asked questions. My mom, Diane, had figured out years ago that keeping quiet avoided trouble. And my little sister, Mia, she was the star everyone orbited around, outgoing, charismatic, always acting like the spotlight was on her. As a kid, I quickly learned that attention and approval weren't shared equally. When Mia succeeded, it was because of great parenting. When I did something good, it was brushed off as chance or just not mentioned. The only one who truly noticed me was my grandma, Margaret. She'd let me hang out with her at the kitchen table long after the others had gone. She'd push a cup of hot chocolate my way and tell me, "You see the important stuff." When she passed away, the whole house felt colder and lonelier. At her service, I remember looking at my dad's expression, no sadness, just a sense of things being easier now. Back then, I convinced myself that people grieve differently. Right before she died, Grandma Margaret handed me a little metal box. "Don't open this around your father," she warned. "You'll get it once you're really independent." I never looked inside. I figured it was something sweet and personal. Years passed, and when my mom needed hip replacement surgery, I headed back to Ohio to lend a hand. I took 2 weeks off from work, just enough time to fall right back into old routines, making meals, tidying up, keeping quiet and out of sight. A couple days before I left North Carolina, I got a notice about some unreported earnings, a big sum I had no clue about. I assumed it was a mix-up and ignored it. I really wish I hadn't. That notice wasn't random. It was the first sign of a secret my family had buried deep. The first few days in that house felt uncomfortably familiar. I'd get up early to brew coffee that my mom hardly drank. I'd help her settle on the sofa, swap out her dressings, organize her medications into daily pill boxes. My dad lingered in doorways, giving orders instead of pitching in. Mia dropped by a couple times, each visit dressed like she had somewhere fancier to be. She'd snap selfies with Mom, posing perfectly, captioning them caring for my mom. Then she'd leave after less than half an hour. Nobody ever called her out on it. They never had. By the fourth evening, I was bone tired. That house had a subtle way of wearing you down, like air slowly escaping a tire. You don't realize until you're flat. That night, Mia showed up in my doorway with a cup in her hand. "You've been doing so much," she said, gentler than I'd heard her in ages. "This'll help you relax and sleep." The drink smelled lightly sweet, maybe herbal tea or something similar. I paused for a second, then felt silly for doubting. She was my sister. This was the house I grew up in. I accepted the cup and sipped it down. In about 30 minutes, my legs started feeling weird, heavy, like they weren't mine anymore. It wasn't sudden, just an odd weight that spread. I tried to get up but barely made it to the side of the bed. My arms went next, then my hands. Fear rushed through me, but I couldn't open my mouth. I was wide awake, completely aware, but stuck. Through the small gap in the door, I caught a glimpse of hallway light. A figure moved past, then paused. Mia's voice came through, low and steady, "Just follow what Dad said." The door stayed partly open. Footsteps entered carefully, like he was avoiding noise. I couldn't move my head, but I felt the bed sink next to me. Fingers pressed against my wrist. "She still got a pulse," the man said quietly. This dose wasn't meant to knock her out this bad. My heart sank. "Keep it down," Mia whispered sharply. "She won't recall a thing." I desperately wanted to shout, to push him away. Instead, I lay there staring at an old crack in the ceiling I'd known since middle school. "This is the only option," Mia went on. "After the court date, it won't even matter." Court date. Those words sliced through the haze. This wasn't about helping me rest. This wasn't worry. This was calculated. The man paused. "This doesn't sit right." "You're already involved," Mia replied. "Just make it appear natural." They stepped out. The door shut gently. In the quiet that followed, something clicked inside me. This went beyond typical sister jealousy or being overlooked. This was intentional. My family wasn't shielding me, they wanted me gone. And whatever that court date was about, one thing was crystal clear. If I waited until morning in that house, I wouldn't walk out freely. Time dragged oddly after they left. Minutes blurred into hours. The effects wore off gradually, beginning with a tingle in my fingers, sharp pins, and needles that I actually appreciated because it signaled I was regaining control. I kept my eyes shut and breathed slowly, pretending to still be out. Later, the door opened again, softer steps this time. Mia Sen hit me before she spoke. She lingered, observing. "Still asleep," she said to herself, then left. Once I was certain, I opened my eyes. The room was faintly lit by outside streetlights filtering through worn blinds. My body ached like I'd been through a workout, but I could shift a little. That's when I spotted it. A plain business card on the floor by my bed, partly tucked under the table. I eased down, knees wobbly, and grabbed it with stiff fingers. Just a name and a profession. Private investigator. My mind raced with focus, not fear. Mia wasn't the mastermind type. She took directions, didn't create schemes. Someone else was pulling strings. Then I heard my dad's voice from down the hall, firm, awake, decisive. "Is it handled?" Pause. "Good. The date's coming up soon. Keep her settled till then." Settled. That made me nauseous. This involved documents, deadlines, a plan where I wouldn't have a voice. I waited for the house to go silent again. Pulling on clothes felt sluggish and loud. Every creak sounded like a giveaway. I crept past my parents' room, past Mia's, hearing her even breathing inside. The front door opened with a quiet click. Cool night air rushed in. I kept moving until I was in my car. I drove about 20 minutes before my hands steadied enough to think straight. I stopped at a little roadside diner, turned off the engine, and sat processing the lingering haze. I pulled out the card and stared. Calling seemed risky, not calling seemed worse. It rang 3 times before he picked up, sleepy at first, then sharp when I gave my name. "You were in my room," I said. "You checked my pulse." "Quiet." "You're conscious," he replied. "You weren't supposed to be." "I heard it all," I told him. "My sister, my dad, the court thing." Longer silence. "Then listen closely," he said. "What they're pulling isn't just family drama. It's official and it's already rolling." I shut my eyes. I'd spent years thinking blending in kept me protected. That night showed me it just made me an easy mark. If I wanted control back, silence wasn't the answer anymore. Alex didn't soften anything. Over coffee the next morning back in North Carolina, he explained, "Your dad filed for guardianship. If it succeeds, he handles your money, your choices, even your home." I watched the steam from my cup. Based on what? Incompetence, he said. Poor money management, mental health issues. I nearly chuckled bitterly. For months, Alex went on, he's created evidence. Transactions, debts, accounts in your name, shifted funds to paint you as out of control. And my sister? He paused. She believes she's safeguarding your parents. He showed her fake proof that you were stealing. A knot formed in me, not pity, just sharp understanding. Alex pushed a file my way. There's a lot here. But to block this, we need an attorney now. That's how Laura Kim came on board. She skipped the sympathy and jumped into sharp questions, jotting notes nonstop. When I described that bedroom night, her expression hardened slightly. This goes beyond money abuse, she stated. It's coercion and timing is key. When's the date? Friday, I answered. She glanced at her watch. Then we moved quick. That afternoon in my place, I finally opened Grandma's metal box. Inside, a folded paper and an aged note in her familiar handwriting. She described my dad submitting fake claims after she died, funds meant for me that vanished. Her worry he'd keep going unless stopped. Below was her real will. Laura reviewed it carefully, then breathed out. This flips the script. By Thursday evening, we'd built the full picture my dad never expected me to share. Bank records tracing the money to him, proof linking the accounts, a clear sequence that destroyed his version. Friday morning, I entered the courthouse in a simple black blazer I'd had forever but rarely worn confidently. My dad was already seated, relaxed, like the outcome was set. My mom beside him, hands clasped, gaze lowered. Mia wasn't there. Robert glanced up as I walked in. For once, he couldn't mask his surprise. You don't belong here, he muttered as I went by. I said nothing. I took my seat next to Laura, hands steady on the table. It began as he planned, his lawyer talking worry, family love, a daughter who'd strayed. Selective papers handed over. Then Laura rose. Calm, measured. She highlighted wrong addresses listed as mine, missed notices, suspicious money moves. She said inaccuracy, then deception, then fraud. The judge's face shifted. Laura requested the original will entered as evidence, explaining the inheritance my dad said I'd wasted was never under my control. Finally, she had me testify. I answered directly. My career, finances, accounts, full grasp of my life. The evaluator seemed puzzled. Why file this at all? Silence filled the room. The judge denied the guardianship immediately and launched an inquiry into the filing. Robert rose fast. This is a mistake. Sit, the judge said. I saw a break in him, not regret, but dread of being seen. Afterward, outside, Mia approached. Pale. You tricked us. You let us believe. No, I cut in. I stopped fixing your assumptions. She started to reply, then didn't. For once, she seemed lost without a line. In the following weeks, it all surfaced. Money trails, fake signatures. Everything he blamed on me traced to him. When charges came, he didn't reach out, no remorse. He insisted I'd turned everyone against him. At sentencing, he spoke briefly, my daughter has issues. She's always been envious. The judge heard him, then said evenly, the proof points elsewhere. A substantial sentence followed. Mia's case was lighter, probation, required therapy, accountability without full punishment. She came to me later, teary. I didn't realize, she said softly. I thought I was doing right. You never checked, I replied. That's what counts. She nodded, like it finally sank in. My mom stayed quiet as always, but now her silence wasn't a shield. It was part of the fallout. I stood outside the courthouse alone when everything wrapped up. Crisp winter air. I thought I'd feel elated. Instead, I felt grounded. That night didn't destroy me. It exposed them. And for the first time, I wasn't slipping away unseen. The months after settled gently, like tension finally releasing. The probe confirmed every detail. My dad's claims fell apart in records, then in trial. The funds he accused me of mishandling led straight to him. Fakes verified. Pattern undeniable. His sentence arrived on a chilly day. Clear it was criminal, not confusion. As they took him, he never glanced my way. He never truly had. Mia's resolution, probation, counseling, lessons learned. She apologized outside court, quieter, without the old confidence. I accepted she meant it, but it didn't reset the past. My mom left the old house. Her quiet no longer hid her, it just moved with her. I went back to North Carolina, got a cozy spot by the lake. Mornings felt peaceful, real. I slept easy, no need for extra locks. Justice wasn't fireworks. It was firm footing, knowing nobody could yank it away again. I'd long thought staying small equaled safety. Wrong. Family doesn't earn the right to dominate, quiet, or remove you. Love isn't shown by compliance, and standing up isn't selfish. If you've ever been labeled crazy, ungrateful, or unseen simply for guarding your own life, hear this. It's real. If this hit home, drop your experience in the comments and subscribe so you catch the next one where the truth comes out on top.